Welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes of Mike, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today's topic is They Will Replace You, the Migrant Crisis in America.
This is 5 Minutes with Mike, our news, our voice, and our opinion. With your host, Michael Beckford. Now stop, listen, and pay attention for 5 Minutes with Mike.
As a disclaimer, this episode is not about replacement theory or any right-wing conspiracy theory that was put into place to fearmonger and scare everyday common Americans. But I would like to take the time to use today's episode as an educational piece to what is happening to communities across America, specifically communities in Chicago and New York City when it comes down to the migrant crisis. 5 Minutes Mike is sponsored by Let's Get Published course. Get your book published within the next 90 days or less. Download my course today on letsgetpublishednow.com and type instant promo code WRITE2024 for an instant $249 off my course. Link in the description below. Now, let's get back into the episode. Last year, New York City Mayor Eric Adams put out a staunch press release that budgets across New York City government was going to get cut by roughly somewhere in the ballpark of 5 or more percent. I don't remember. It doesn't matter if you were a teacher, firefighter, or even a police officer. The strain that the migrant crisis has had on New York City has taken its toll on what was once known as a sanctuary city for migrants, at least unofficially known as a sanctuary city. And resources that would have normally gone to, say, those American-born citizens have now been reallocated to those that are migrants, aka non-American born citizens. Now, I have no dislike or hate for those that want better opportunities for themselves and their families, no matter what country they come from. But when it starts to come at the expense of my own people who pay taxes and are getting the short end of the stick, it does put a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Number 2. The best example of that bad taste in my mouth is, imagine you have a whole family at home and dad says, "Hey there, kids. There's some kids across the street that need new shoes, food, and medicine. So I'm going to take 70% of the medicine that's at our house and I'm going to go ahead and put that on over to the other family that really needs it." Yes, I know. Those of you that are thinking it may sound extreme, but this is exactly what it sounds like with this migrant crisis. It's not a crisis that was created by the migrants themselves. Oh, no, not at all. They're just crossing the border to seek a better life. But it is a crisis that's created by decades of congressional mishaps, mismanagement of the border, and rule of law that has allowed for such an increase in border crossings and no true pathway that Republicans nor Democrats can agree on. So instead, we continue to be that father that just says, hey, they need help. They need our help. But yet we're taking 70% of the resources that was supposed to be for those here that needed the most and now giving it to the other families instead. Number 3, as much as I'm not a big fan of Texas Governor Greg Abbott, I must say that this guy has some genius working for him, or maybe he's a genius. I don't know, but I don't think so. But anyway, maybe he has some genius working for him because at the end of the day, he decided to turn this Texas and Arizona semi-California border problem and make this border state problem and almost every state problem, especially when it comes down to the quote-unquote sanctuary cities, which tend to be Democratic-leaning cities. And now you have places like Chicago, as well, that's cutting back on spending that was supposed to be derived for citizens, those that with the least amongst us, aka African Americans. And unfortunately, those resources, once again, are going to the migrants. Schools, parks, recreational facilities have all been shut down in New York, Chicago, and other places due to this crisis. Everyday Americans in particular, Black Americans, are hurting the worst because of this crisis. Because you know what happens? They don't put them in the migrants. They don't send the migrants to the most rich places in the United States, aka predominantly upper white neighborhoods, with the exception of Martha Vineyards, the stunt that, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis did. But they don't put them in the neighborhoods that are most affluent. No. They put them in the more lower, quote unquote, class neighborhoods. The neighborhoods where people are already struggling for resources, already struggling to try to figure things out. So that's my biggest issue. I don't have an issue with migrants. I love migrants because at the end of the day, all of us at some point or another have migrated to America, whether forced or by will. Okay? And let's take on the church. As I stated, the migrants did not create this problem. They're only looking at the loopholes of an opportunity for a pathway to U.S. citizenship. My biggest issue is that my people, African Americans, specifically, are getting the short end of the stick as we always have. And they're having rumors that migrants, aka Hispanic population, because most of the migrants do come from Mexico, and they're coming from other nations like Africa as well, which very few, China. But the majority of them are coming from Mexico and Central American nations. Rumor has it that these individuals will be the next voting bloc stronghold for Democrats. And they no longer have to depend on the black vote. Because at the end of the day, these Republican or Democratic politicians don't really give a damn about black people. Because if they did, they would have passed a number of policies for the sake of justice and restoration for us as a people. And the Sex Tour Volume 2, a short story.
Sex can be used as a powerful tool, an even more powerful weapon. Welcome to the city of Atlanta, where the lights are bright, the scams are steady, and sex is the ultimate drug of choice. The Sex Tour, Volume 2, a novella by Michael D. Beckford, coming soon to ebook, paperback, and audio. Volume 1 of The Sex Tour is available now wherever books are sold.
By Michael D. Beckford is coming soon to Amazon and wherever you read your books. Please go ahead and like and hit that subscribe button if you love this content. 5 Minutes Mike is written, produced, and directed by Michael D. Beckford. All rights reserved. Copyright 2024 by Speak Publishing International and Michael Beckford Media Group LLC production. Thank you for listening and watching.